Ethan Cole entered the Galactic Assembly Hall for the final time carrying a plain data slate and wearing the same Navy uniform he had worn for nearly 15 years. The chamber was alive with sound. Dozens of species argued, negotiated, and postured in voices that clicked, trilled, hummed, and resonated through the air. Translators struggled to keep pace. No one noticed the human as he stepped onto the central dais. A Zenthari envoy loudly protested trade quotas. A root-bound Rolvek argued with a violet-skinned Therix. Mantis-like delegates whispered among themselves while a towering crystalline entity glowed with bored amber light. Humanity's representative was an afterthought. Ethan activated the attention beacon. A soft tone rippled outward. Conversations faltered, then died. Hundreds of alien eyes turned toward the human standing alone at the center of the galaxy's greatest political chamber. "Honored members of the Galactic Assembly," Ethan said calmly, his voice steady. "I am here to deliver a formal declaration on behalf of Earth and all human colonies operating within Assembly territory." A few delegates shifted, most simply watched. "Effective immediately," he continued, "humanity will withdraw from all Assembly operations. Our embassies will close within 30 standard days. All treaties, accords, and cooperative agreements between humanity and this body are dissolved." Silence crushed the room. Even the hum of environmental systems felt intrusive. Ethan scanned the rows of delegates. Shock flickered across some faces, relief across others. A few barely concealed satisfaction. "We thank this assembly for the opportunity to stand beside you over the past 32 years, he finished. "We wish you success in whatever paths you choose." He placed the data slate on the lectern and turned to leave. "Ambassador Cole," the speaker called out, "you cannot abandon the assembly without justification." Ethan paused once. "We can," he replied, "and we are. Good day." He walked out as the chamber erupted behind him. Across assembly space, the message reached every human outpost. Fleets disengaged. Consoles powered down. Doctors finished surgeries and packed instruments. Linguists archived languages no one else understood. Engineers uploaded final maintenance logs. Merchants locked their doors. Security officers surrendered weapons to bewildered commanders. There were no protests, no arguments, just quiet departures. 3 weeks later, the first crisis ignited on Kepler 442b. A mining consortium uncovered a rare metal vein dangerously close to a Malari sacred chamber. The Malari responded by sealing access routes and banning extraction. In the past, a human mediator fluent in Malari light language would have arrived within days, translating belief into compromise. This time, no one came. The Council's replacement mediator couldn't interpret Malari communication. His translator failed. The elders flashed crimson light anger and walked away. Negotiations collapsed. Mining halted. Thousands lost their livelihoods, then supply lines began to fail. For decades, human freight guilds had delivered food, medicine, and industrial equipment to frontier worlds with flawless precision. When humans withdrew, their fleets vanished with them. Alien transport firms demanded exorbitant fees and missed deadlines anyway. Colonies rationed food. Hospitals ran out of species-specific medicine. Power cores went unrepaired. Entire settlements teetered on collapse. The financial network fractured next. The galaxy's central banking architecture, designed and maintained by humans, began producing errors no one could explain. Transfers duplicated. Others vanished entirely. Alien engineers stared at the code in confusion. "It works," one admitted, "but not according to logic." Commerce slowed, then stalled, then froze. Orbital stations followed. Elysium Station, once the crown jewel of assembly space, began losing atmospheric control. Gravity stabilizers vibrated dangerously. Fusion cores sputtered at half output. The manuals were there, the instructions were clear, but they referenced instincts no one else possessed. "Why does it say to listen to the machines?" an engineer asked. Because the human who built them had heard failure long before sensors detected it, and she was gone. War erupted soon after. Without human strategists, peacekeeping fleets reverted to rigid formations and outdated doctrine. Raiders adapted instantly. 6 vessels were lost in the first engagement. Then 12 more. Trade corridors burned, pirate syndicates flourished, entire regions slipped into chaos, the assembly chamber filled with panic. At last, someone voiced the unthinkable. We must find the humans. Pride delayed the decision. Reality forced it. 1 year after humanity's withdrawal, a recovery fleet was dispatched toward the galactic rim. They expected ruins, refugees. A species barely surviving alone. They found nothing, no debris, no distress signals, no trace. Then reports arrived from the frontier. Human ships, sleek, silent, impossibly fast, offering trade and protection. Neutralizing pirate fleets without destruction. Rendering hostile vessels powerless, then offering them a choice instead of annihilation. Whispers spread of something new, the human commonwealth. A voluntary alliance. Peaceful, thriving. When a council envoy finally reached human space, what she saw shattered everything she believed. Cities grown rather than built. Energy drawn from the vacuum of space. Species long ignored or oppressed walking freely beside humans. No currency, no wars, no fear-based hierarchy. We didn't abandon the galaxy, a human leader told her gently. We just stopped holding it together alone. The envoy begged for help, offered authority, promised reform. The humans refused, not with anger, not with bitterness, but with certainty. Those systems, they explained, had worked exactly as designed. The failure was never technology. It was the refusal to understand the principles behind it. 2 years after humanity's departure, the Galactic Assembly dissolved. Its chamber stood empty, its authority meaningless. Member civilizations fractured or fled. Pride had cost them everything. Beyond former council borders, the human commonwealth expanded steadily. Species joined willingly. Knowledge flowed freely. Conflicts ended through dialogue instead of domination. Entire regions, once defined by chaos, found stability. Humanity had stopped maintaining a borrowed civilization. They were building their own. And across the stars, billions learned a truth too late to ignore. Sometimes the strongest leadership comes from service, and the greatest power is knowing when to walk away.